because of course everything is truth, right? We could say that everything is true, but the source of where all of this truth comes from is so powerful. It is a creative force of nature that is the cradle and grave of universes. When we begin to tap into that, it becomes obvious that if we were to suddenly perceive more than 10% of what we're used to perceiving, our body's amplitude potential needs to be increased because that energy is powerful. And we haven't learned to create this internal connection enough to really be able to perceive it and express it. But we are now. And that is a reason to celebrate or to feel happy. And so put that little inner smile on your face. I gave you some reasons to celebrate, but you don't even have to for that. I ask that you come to a place in you where you start to become aware of how profound you are. And we're not talking about that little tiny narrow view of who the world has taught you to believe you are. We're talking about taking that narrow view and to whatever level we commit, start to widen that view, our perceptual awareness. And if we're widening it, what is going to fill in the spaces? Or what are we going to know or feel like or be the more we open up this narrow view that we've all been in? What we are going to open up to is already within us. It's the subconscious, it's the unconscious. It is what some call junk DNA, which isn't junk at all. It's just unactivated awareness. And as we process, as we begin to open our view, and in many ways, not even trying to do anything with it, just choosing to be open to observe ourselves as we begin to observe our inner nature. And of course, it might feel uncomfortable because when you, like a organic antenna, you start to open up and these greater amplitudes of life force, of spirit, you're upping your energy and that energy transmission becomes stronger. And that's why having just that simple foundational support of what we already shared, totally relaxed body, slower than normal breathing, and that little inner smile. That is the foundational habit that allows us to grow, to develop, to evolve. Because the irony is that in many ways, all we're doing is choosing to become aware of what was always there, of what we have always known, but that for a brief second, due to the density of this world and so much more, we've forgotten. But now we're remembering. More than ever, so many of us are becoming aware that we're not alone anymore. We never were alone. We just needed to learn what it's like to be in that foundational state, to love yourself unconditionally as you are, without the conditions or programming of the world around us that can keep us down, keeps us stuck in a very low bandwidth because we're actually enabling it to do that. But most don't know that. They don't realize it. They just think it's who they are. So as we're relaxed, we're breathing slower and deeper. We have that little inner smile on our face. And though we may not be able to articulate it or know it by the way we know everything around us, we know it's there. We know that the energy that is animating our bodies, it's what we really are. And when who we are starts becoming influenced by what we are from within, rather than anything and everything external to us, when we choose to be influenced by this miracle force of nature within, that's when who we are is able to break out of those chains of belief, of limitation, of low self esteem. Because the more connected we become, the more that all the old scars and memories all of that starts to come to the surface the more we get in tune with what we are, because we're not so focused everywhere around us. We are focusing within, which is where we come from. This energy in us has always began and evolved within us. It didn't come out there from some planet or star system. It developed completely independent of everything that we perceive around us. And it grew, it evolved, it began to become so much more self aware. And all the things that suddenly seem so important to everybody who's meditating or doing yoga, of course, we're going in that direction. Of course, we're seeking to be more connected. And just as you evolve and learn to open your heart by choosing to put a smile on your face and feeling that in your heart, all of that old stuff is going to be stirred up. It's going to be shaken around. And at some point, we are going to be aware of it, but not from a place of defenselessness, not from a place where we feel doomed. Whatever it is that's detoxing, whether it's chemical, energy, memories, whatever it is that's coming up, you create this foundational connection within you and you get good at sustaining it. And then that old stuff comes up, but you are empowered to be able to face it. You don't have to wither and be so terrified of reliving the pain. Or maybe you don't even remember any of it. You just know that it's in there. When you learn how to face you and all that has brought you to this point right now, when you trust that all those things that happened way back, as terrible or painful as it was, it served a purpose. We likely didn't know what that purpose was when it happened. But as we begin to become empowered and process all of that old stuff from that state of empowerment, the more we can face it with trust, with faith that we are so much greater than all that we have allowed to hold us back. And so we're evening out the scales. We're becoming empowered because we choose to cultivate this internal awareness between who we think we are and all of this energy in us that animates us, that works by keeping all these complex systems working together. Whether we're asleep at night or awake in the day, what is causing that to happen is still who you are. It allows you to exist. And so you're not separate from it. You're simply choosing to reintegrate back into what this vital life force is, so that all the old stuff that we got addicted to, the behavioral patterns, the lack of self confidence, the belief that we are nothing more than consumers, or that we are nothing more than the institutions of the world have taught us. Of course, they're not going to teach us that. It's pretty obvious, right? And again, the irony is that they're not able to teach us this. They're just not able to, because there's no or very small awareness of truth. Because again, truth can be really dense and down low, but that same energy is connected to a much greater energy. And the more you choose to break free of the chains and shackles that keep you stuck in the avatar of who the world has taught you to be, as you shed those shackles, as you evolve by your choice alone, no one else's, your choice, the more you do that, the more these higher levels of truth become self evident. And it's not only just self evident, it is a party. Not the kind of party you think, but it is joy. It is so powerful. And we all know what kind of energy, what kind of feeling we have all come from. And that feeling is only a tiny piece of sand in all the beaches of the world compared to this life force source, its creativity, and the power it works with to create universes. Think about how much creative power it takes to create that. and even trying to imagine what it would feel like for that to happen is, how do you do that? It's massive, it's so big, but we have a starting point. We have a reference, and that reference point is who we are. It is what we are. And when who we are and what we are start to interface and integrate back into one like they've always been, you just didn't know that. But by choosing to be conscious of it, that creates the integration of who you think you are back into what you are. And at some point, that feeling that brought each and every one of us here gets stronger and stronger, but it's not localized to one part of your body. It is in you. It is all of you. You are that. And when you connect to that and you literally begin to feel it pulsing throughout and around your entire body, and you choose to do it regularly, at some point you just start smiling all the time, because when you tap into that, or when you become aware of what was always there, it is truly getting high on life, or as we've accepted life to be. So just stay relaxed, breathe slowly, feel that little smile, and feel that little smile in your heart. And if you're calm enough to feel your heartbeat, let this foundational energy pulse through it. Your heart waves are carrying that feeling to not only every cell in your body. No one knows how big it can be or how far our own energy field is. It certainly doesn't have any limits that anybody can impose on it. And you could say that this means there's endless incentive for you to choose to grow, to evolve by knowing that creative spark of life that is in every organ of your body. every gland, all of these complex systems that run and connect throughout our entire body. And of course, the iron and the other metals in our blood, all of those metals, those exist to channel energy. And it's so obvious, right? You plug something into the wall and you flick it on and a light bulb turns on. And it's quite fascinating to consider that when you flick that switch, that energy's already there, because in it is wire from silver, copper. Those metals conduct energy. And if we can make sense of how they work in our modern creature comfort style of living, if we can make sense of that, and it's pretty obvious, we can make sense of how it operates in us. Because unlike electricity that's being channeled for utility or services, that energy is kind of static. And I mean that it serves very basic functions. But those similar organic structures that are in us, they don't really hold limitation unless we choose to not exercise and grow those limitations into something more limitless. And of course, as we stay in a connected space where we feel our heartbeat, we know all of this energy is there, our nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, it's there. It's every part of who and what we are. So as we build that, again, you build that structure, of course, things are going to come up that you can detox. Of course, old things that hurt at one time and that maybe you've become numb to, of course, it's going to come up. But just remember, even if you've had only a little taste of this power and what it feels like, just like flicking a switch on demand and getting light, so too to each and every one of us have the ability to turn on this creative intelligence. It's always been there, closer to us than our own heartbeat. It's simply lacking a relationship. So, anybody who wants to stay in a deep state, being relaxed, in tune with this, hang up. And I would encourage you to really be silent and notice what you feel. Notice if you hear ringing or sounds or melodies in your head, in your body, because all of this energy, these atoms, they're buzzing and they are creating sound. And that sound is our body's ability to communicate to the part of us that is conscious of what we are, even if we're hardly conscious of ourselves at all. It's still there. We can still choose to listen. And to everybody else, if this made sense or if you felt something or it inspired you, try to memorize whatever that was or whatever it feels like, because that is what you are. And even if everything was taken from you, you will still have that because it has you and it wants to serve you, but it demands alliance, loyalty, trust, faith, courage. And you don't need to have all this at once. It is simply the progressive realization of a worthy view, meaning you recognize that this internal relationship between you and your consciousness is a very important relationship, if not the most important. And the more you become aware of it, you don't even have to open the door and invite it in. It's already in, it's already here. It's up to you to communicate. But first, it has a lot to tell you. So be open to that. And when you get triggered, when others in your life who you love are struggling with something and you get tensed out and you feel stressed out, it's those incidences that give the most powerful opportunity to evolve and grow. Because if you catch yourself in a state that you know you don't need to stay in, I mean, yeah, of course, if you need to fight for your life or run, of course, but you are wise and you have the very real ability to discern of what is worthy for you to be engaged in a stress response and what isn't. And so when everything goes off the rails and you're going with it, you can catch yourself like, oh, wait, that's right. I made this agreement, this arrangement with this divine being or this supernatural being that is me. It's in me. It is me. It's everybody, everywhere, everything. You remember what you'll already know. Over time, your faith and trust begins to build. So when you're ready, slowly put your hands together and create friction, heat, warmth, get them nice and hot. This is your own personal geothermal treatment. And when they're warm, hot, put the palms of your hands over your eyes. And maybe you see the birth of a new universe, or maybe you don't. And either way is perfect. And when you're ready, I would welcome you back, but you didn't even go anywhere except for deeper within. What do you think, Greg? Are those guys still driving behind you or what?
There we go. Unmuted. They're high on life. Look at
That's
how
right.
happy they are. Hey guys, a quick question. Hey, quick little hands. Did everybody hear Seth okay? I heard him okay, right? Everybody good? Okay, awesome. Okay. I had someone someone said your voice actually went down like halfway through. I didn't know if it was
Really?
like your microphone or anything. So just
Oh,
making
it might
sure.
have been.
So we know for
Yeah.
next time. So awesome. Any closing remarks?
Unless anybody wants to share anything, you're free to.
Okay. And quick reminder, actually, right here, I did mention this in the intro really quick, but I'm awake now what.com/calendar. Find the Zoom link there, but also sign up for newsletter. I'm awake now what.com. Just sit there, a couple seconds, you'll get a pop up window. Put in your email newsletter. One of the things I neglected to mention is that every week Seth sends out the email and it's a reminder and kind of just a little precursor to what we do every Tuesday. So those will appear in your inbox, in your email inbox every Tuesday, probably a couple hours prior to when we go live. So definitely want you on that newsletter. So other than that, guys, thank you for sharing your energy, your presence, your being here, your beautiful spirit with us today, and keep shining, keep breathing, keep embracing. I guess the magic of this journey right here with these fellas, right? You know. So until next time, stay blessed, stay uplifted, and stay high on life.
Yes.
All right, we love you guys.
Love you guys too. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, everybody.
Bye bye.